Hey everyone, welcome back to another exciting episode of Attacker Productions. Today I am Bancroft, being joined by a bunch of assholes today. That being Jimmy, Jake, Trevor isn't really an asshole, near as Jake, and like always, Fluff.
What's the asshole tier list of the shop?
You're at the top. Actually, I don't know if I'm at the
Uh,
top or you. It's one of us.
That sounds like more content to me, boys.
Yeah, that sounds like Patreon content. What's up, y'all?
Jimmy has made me cry more than anyone else at the shop, so Jimmy has the top tier spot.
And with
but
that
good cries, right?
No, they're all bad.
and with that being said, thank you all for tuning in. Like always, there's buttons right below the video. You should click them. They're there for a reason. All right, cool. Thanks for clicking them. And with that being said, today's matchup is our finals, and it is Jake and Trevor. Jake has brought back Broly and Dark Broly and Paragus, or for those of you who are familiar in the past, Oryx and Capital. And Trevor is playing the SS3 Goku with a ton of energy restand ability.
So, I've been playing Dark Broly a lot recently. It just dawned on me this is like the third week I've brought it, and I felt like I was getting to a good spot, a good experience level with the deck, and I hadn't played against Blue yet, so I wasn't sure going into this matchup how things were going to play out. And funnily enough, our friend Matt asked me right before the event, Jake, do you actually know the meta right now? And I was like, yeah, I think I got a pretty good handle on it. I had no idea that this Goku deck existed.
Well, the Goku deck has really only taken off in like the past week or two. A couple like prominent streamers like content creator Eggman was one of the individuals that's recently popularized it, but it's not gotten first, I don't think yet, but it's topped a couple times.
It's in that realm where blue is right now. It's like every blue deck that has potential is at least on the high end of Rogue, like 1.2. It's not quite tier 1, but it's not quite Rogue. So it's always fantastic. And I'll just say, kind of every time that I played Dark Brawly with a blue deck, because I was on blue really hard, I never was afraid of Dark Brawly. It's like the safest color against Dark Brawly. So I'm interested to see how this goes, given Jake's experience with the Siege character deck. I don't play that game, and then the Porcupine energy deck.
So I've played the blue matchup with Dark Broly a lot. Dark Broly is one of my favorite decks right now, and since it's come out, I've always loved the archetype. Blue is such a odd matchup where Broly can push through the defenses pretty easily. Like, blue has a lot of big body blockers. All of your cards are big bodies. You can just push through negates because you get so many free attacks every turn that you can whittle down the negates in the hand. But the odd thing about this matchup is blue tends to put cards back into your hand, which of course you can just combo them out. But for Dark Broly, the hand is kind of the worst place for your Dark Broly cards to be in. You either want them in the deck or in the drop where they're going to be useful and be fuel for your deck. So it's kind of a weird thing, and it's not something you really think about a lot. But like, once you get clogged up with those Dark Brolys, you either have to just like take a bunch of like 0k combos if you can't activate your leader effect, or just like dump them into your energy or whatever. Like, it's kind of a weird thing that is not thought about a lot.
And here, it's like Trev forces me to awaken super early, which keeps me off of another activation on my front side where I get to fuel my drop area. And going into this turn, I didn't think it was going to be a huge deal, and it ended up really, honestly, kind of clunking me out here. There's not a lot of plays I can make with my current hand, and the ones that I can make are pretty easily negated by Trevor's blue strategies.
And seeing a lot of 30Ks in the energy, like I said before, once you get kind of clogged, you kind of have to dump them into your energy unless you want to waste them on comboing with your leader or just waste them for a 0K combo. But a lot of times you'll feel comfortable charging them early on and then realize you don't have enough in the drop area to really cycle and keep your Broly cycle going.
Notice I've got 3 in the energy area here.
Exactly. And I remember the first effect you put 2 in the drop, and then on the second you put, was it 3?
3. So I'm stuck at 5.
Yeah. Plus the Boo Unison is just so good, just in every matchup.
Yeah, and just to talk about the Boo Unison, I remember when it first came out, everybody's like, this is really good, but it costs 4 energy. So in most cases, you'd be looking at turn 4 or turn 3 if you use Zeno Unison first for some reason and then went into it. But why it works so well in this deck in particular is, as you can see, I got it out on turn 2 this game because I went second and had a bean in hand. I was prepared and set. As soon as I saw both those cards, I knew exactly what I was going to do on that turn. Regardless of what he was doing, especially since I've never played against Dark Broly at the shop because our shop doesn't typically play a lot of meta. And when it came out, I wasn't playing, so it kind of died down after everybody had tried it, and haven't been there the past month while Jake's been playing it, so this was my first experience playing against it.
And here I kind of took a probably hyper-aggressive play line where I turned the Gohan sideways despite the 20k unison on the board. I was just hoping to get another activation out of it, but I didn't realize that it's a minus ability, so he only gets 1 activation a turn. And of course, Trevor just wisely spins a Dimension Magic and keeps me from getting another battle step.
Yeah, I mostly did that, less so for the battle step, because, again, I don't know anything about your deck, and more so because I wanted to stay at a certain life, because like Fluff mentioned in the previous video this week, it's really rough, because you drop down to, you're losing life, not gaining cards, on your unawakened side, so you want to try and stay as close to 4 life as possible, so that was the main reason why I actually decided to go ahead and burn a D-Magic on what I would consider relatively early turn, all things considered.
Oh, yeah. But I feel like it was a wise move. Like, it's kind of very suspect that I'm swinging with a 15k blocker, and you're just like, no, I don't want any part of this.
Mm-hmm.
The SS3 Goku gets so much advantage off of its life charging that if you can blitz it down very early, it kind of like puts the deck back into its place and on level with other leaders where you lose out on all of that leader's advantage. And then you're playing mostly on the strength of your battle cards and not the strength of your leader. And most SS3 decks are not built to do so. They're built to just be able to spam out a bunch of energy and play, big bodies. And if you don't have the energy to do that, then you're kind of screwed. You're just a setting duck. I'm not too familiar with the Bojack variant of the deck, and it looks to be fairly energy efficient when it comes to the Bojack package part of the deck. I could be completely wrong there. But I think this deck is like the perfect middle ground for SS3, where if you get blitzed out and don't get to charge, you can still play the game and be a threat to your opponent.
Yeah. This game, I believe the Bojack engine actually does at least see a little bit of play. The one game that we didn't have on screen this week that I played, it put in a lot of work. The 8-drop Bojack on a Rampage. Just so much value in that card, and if people let it stick, every single turn it's going to do something. It's either going to help me, and hinder the opponent, and they have to play around it. They're going to have to sequence their turn completely different because they'll have to tap in energy. when they swing with anything. So if they swing with their leader, they're going to lose an energy before they play anything. So they're basically forced to play what they want to play and then swing, as opposed to the other way around.
So if somebody watching does not know what the 8-drop Bojack does, would you like to explain his effects?
Yeah, sure. I think it actually comes up this turn as well. So I'll just go ahead and start talking about it. So in this deck in particular, you want to charge the Bojack on a Rampage, because ideally you want to combo with it with Galactic Buster, because otherwise you have to pay the combo cost from your hand, and we definitely don't want to do that. But you use Galactic Buster, which allows you to combo with it from your energy. And at the end of a battle in which you use that card in a combo, you can tap 1 blue and 3 colorless, draw 1 card, choose one of your opponent's battle cards, place it at the bottom of their deck, and then play the 8-drop Bojack in rest from your drop area in rest mode. So that alone is a lot kind of going on there, but auto once per turn, if this card is in rest mode, when your opponent attacks with a battle card, I switch one of my blue energy to active mode, and they switch one of their energy to rest mode.
That is just too many effects on one card.
Yeah, it's a ton.
That is
Yeah.
too much.
So-
It is a very powerful battle card, but it's not without its weaknesses. The really brilliant thing about it, though, is that you can play it during your opponent's turn, which is just huge.
And when you use it with Galactic Buster, you draw off Galactic Buster and you draw off a bit. So you basically +1 card as well as have removal. And with this deck, since you untap 4 every single turn, he's live in your energy every single turn that he's there.
Like Freehan on steroids. Like I remember the original SS3 deck, and it's one of my favorite decks this game has ever had, because everybody played the same leader, but you never knew what you were setting across from.
Yeah, it was one of my favorite formats for sure in the game's history.
And I kind of feel the same way about the current SS3 leader. It's not seeing as much play because it's not as generic as the other one, but I every time I see it, I'm always hyped to see like what new stuff they're putting in the deck. And like I probably I should have expected it, but like I never expected to see the Bojack package make it into this deck. And
I gotta give whether this was Trevor's brew or not, I was legitimately impressed seeing the Bojack package squeezed into SS3, because like if I'm brewing that deck, I think like how little draw power SS3 has in the initial stages of the game, and how detrimental that could be with the Bojack package, having to rely on seeing specific cards to be able to get your effects. And I'm amazed at how well how good it actually is.
Oh yeah, it's very impressive, and having never played against it before, you really don't know what to expect. I mean, that's kind of a no shit Sherlock kind of thing to say, but at least the way I play Dark Broly, a lot of my success is based in matchup knowledge, and I realized that I've really played against a very limited number of decks sitting across from this. Like, I had never heard of this deck before tonight.
Yeah.
And that to me is one of the brilliant things about our current format that we're in, is there are the number of decks that you could sit across from on, at a quick thought seems very narrow, but this is actually a really wide format where, and what we play in a best of one, you could be up against any number of different decks.
Yep. And here, I'm asking Jake, what does this card do on swing? Because I need to decide if I need to negate this or if I want another play, and this is where I decide to use Galactic Buster. I take the double strike, and this is where he comes into play at the end of the battle. I tap 4 to play him, and then Galactic Buster makes me tap an additional energy at the end of it as well. So I should ultimately have tap 5 to play him here. If make sure I did.
Yep,
there
there
it
goes
goes.
sideways. I was so hoping you just put it right back down and activate.
So there was a lot of auto sequencing in the match prior to this that I messed up on, so I was trying to make sure that I really did it right this match. It wouldn't have affected it. Actually would have made my last match easier. So that was why I was like, I got to make sure I don't miss this auto timing because it's a choose up to. It's not a mandatory effect. So, and I can tell Jake here after I explained the card to him is having to actually kind of think about his play, especially since I removed that card off the field with it.
Honestly, I'm thinking, what in my deck gets me out of this situation? And there's really not a lot. I can see now that the reason, or one of the reasons I'm doing so poorly in this game is I've charged a quarter of the Dark Broly's in the deck, basically, like 4 or 5 of them. And there's just better charge targets. I don't know. Like this Bojack is removable had I been able to play another Dark Broly, but I really just think my inexperience against your list caused me to make a lot of mistakes in the early game that would have set me up for these future turns as far as my drop area and warp are concerned. And now that those options aren't accessible to me, I have nothing to push back against your giant board. So basically, I'm going to die is how I feel in this moment.
Really speaks to the power of that engine. Because, like, you know, Dark Brawly should theoretically have a very explosive turn. And to hear that the turn has essentially just been turned off for the Dark Brawly player because of the card, and like now having an extremely limited number of viable onboard options, to me just really speaks to how strong this deck can be.
The key moment, as far as I'm concerned, is getting to play that Majin Buu unison on turn 2. Not only did I not understand that the -1 was only once per turn, which caused a little bit of poor sequencing on my end, and that's just me being unknowledgeable and, deserve to be punished for it. But I don't know, I was just really flummoxed on what to do here. And even, you can see I'm even not really optimizing my defenses very well. I'm just curious as to what Trevor's going to kill me with, essentially.
Yeah, and there's a wide opportunity to kill. I mean, he's standing on 6 open energy.
Right.
So you're activating Protector of the People. If he had a baby in hand, he could have babied you.
And, it's in his energy. I was going to say earlier in the game he flashed one, so...
I actually have 2 in my hand, and I should have. We actually talked about this after the fact. Is that there was no reason for me not to use it there, because I would have gotten 2 damage off of that, because I was thinking, if he has a power burst after that, then I'm in trouble. But then I realized he was tapped out and only had 1 life, so I would have been fine. It was just a misplay on my part.
Quick question. Did you pick up a energy off of that Zeno?
I didn't. I put the card back down.
Okay, gotcha.
I was going to, and then
I just seen the hand move over. I was like, "Hey, bro, that's on your opponent's turn." Just like the beer super combo that Bancroft stole from me.
Yeah, like, as you could see, if I wanted to, I definitely would have loved to pick up that Vegeta super combo, but it's still there. So, and I actually said out loud, "Wait, I can't do that." So,
yeah, I remember that.
So I definitely should have played the baby during that swing, or during his counter, but that's just me not thinking, overthinking 2 turns ahead.
I think
basically.
You're fine. You got it.
I think this really goes to show where Jake got a really difficult start with Dark Broly by not being able to activate the front activate main and filling up the drop area with his 30Ks. So it really limited his future plays throughout the rest of the game. And he got clogged with the 30Ks in hand and had to charge a lot of them. Where even insanely consistent decks like Dark Broly can sometimes clog up and just not work. And that is not taking anything away from Trevor because the SS3 deck is fantastic, and I feel like this matchup could be could probably still be 50-50 with a better RNG for Dark Broly.
Yeah, I remember just saying, Trevor, after our game, I'd like to have this rematch someday because I feel like I could win. Honestly, I feel like the way Trevor played the game is the reason I clogged out. He made a lot of good choices with his attacks, and I made a lot of poor choices in the game. And the player who makes the most right decisions throughout the course of the game wins. And congratulations, Trevor, man. You won the whole event this week, so good job, man.
Yeah, first time winning it all, so that felt good.
Yeah, congratulations, buddy. You earned it.
Want to take it away, Bancroft?
All right, so if you enjoyed this video, I'll do the Bancroft buttons thing. I'm not going to beg you. If you like the video, like it. If you didn't, dislike it. Probably dislike it because Bancroft's not showing up for the damn outro. Fluff, take it away.
Yeah, you can see there's a couple videos for you to click on the screen. I'm really convinced that someone paid off some gypsies to mess with everyone's draw and deck RNG this week. But nonetheless, congratulations, Trevor. Make sure to read your cards, know your plays. Let us make the mistakes so that you don't have to, like Bancroft not showing back up for the outro. And as always, Fluff out.
So my mic was still on mute and I was talking. I'm like, what the hell's going on? They can't hear me or something?